Out of that fence.
Dude in prison, obviously, life decisions is not his strong suit.
Uh,
You know what
yeah,
I'm saying?
he's not.
He might not be somebody you want to mess with.
Yeah, it might not be
Lord
the
have mercy.
best move.
But for everybody that was up and on, because I know a lot of folks, even over here in Georgia, was real worried about it in this type of stuff. They didn't even make it out of Alabama. You know, y'all some idiots.
Well, I mean,
Anyway.
how far can you really drive? You got all these people looking for you, and it ain't like you can send him into the store to get the food.
Lord
I mean,
have
you know what I'm
mercy.
saying? Because I mean, it's like, think about it. You're doing everything.
And they will catch in Alabama because they ain't got nothing else to do.
You're doing everything,
You saw
man.
that sheriff on, we out here and we gonna get. Lord
But
have
that's some
mercy.
serious talk game, though.
Nah, for real.
You know, you break me out, I'm gonna change your life.
People be lonely, man.
Not that long.
Folk need somebody. You know what I'm saying?
Not that long.
Hey, I couldn't take nobody out of prison. You ever seen that show 60 Days In?
I did.
Bro, I watched that one time. I was like, bro, y'all is buck wild up in here. I'm talking about they in there fighting, doing crack, all kind of stuff.
I remember back in the days that Scared Straight thing. Remember that program? That scared. Oh boy, got them little kids up in there. But my favorite is that Boondocks episode. Chris Hansen. Okay. I want you. I'm gonna have you.
Just let's go ahead and get these announcements out of the way. If you're out there in the Douglasville area, I want you to go visit my friends over at Studio 1211 right there at beautiful 6405 Fairburn Road. Mm-hmm. You can call schedule an appointment at 770-485-6772. Ask to speak to my personal barber, Melvin. He will give you a cut on the real 1100 AM. Just tell him KC sent you.
Hey, that's the move, man.
It is.
Go ahead and get that haircut.
It didn't work for me. I told him KC sent me. He said, bro, if you don't get my money.
Wow, but you be dropping them bills on him.
Hey, you gotta take care of you folks to take care of you, bro.
Yeah.
He keep me looking fly, I ain't gonna lie.
Yeah.
If you're out in the Smyrna area, I want you to go visit my friends over at Titans Fitness, world-class training facility with fitness programs, nutrition, personal trainers, and a brand new wellness and vitality center right there at 1834 South Cobb Industrial Boulevard, Smyrna, Georgia. You can visit them online at titans.net.
Yeah. Have you seen some of those daggone videos they be showing people like doing flips while they lifting, the dumbbells, and they doing flips, and other people
believe that type of stuff,
like
bro, please.
Riding treadmills while they doing pull-ups.
I be in the gym trying to get my stress off, bro. I ain't got time to be doing no acrobatics.
Yeah, that's just accidents waiting to happen.
I'm trying to tell you, bro, folk crazy. But what are we having our marketing moment for today?
Oh, man, the marketing moment of the day is a good one, man. We're talking about shoot the messenger. Shoot the messenger. So here's how it goes. We all hear so much information out there, and there's so many people that are talking about this is what needs to be done. This is what you need to do to grow your business and so forth. But we don't vet or validate these messages.
Okay.
I was told as a young boy that whoever tells you something, what you need to do is figure out what's their angle first before you believe it. And a lot of times we got people saying that here's how you grow your business. You need to do this. You need to do that. You need to do, all these things. But you find out all they're doing is prescribing you what they do for a living. And it might not be good for your business. So let me show you how you can shoot the messenger, how you can vet this messenger. First of all, ask them, what is my business model? What do I do? What is my goals? Who do I target? And then based on that, if what they tell you makes sense, go with it. But if they don't know what you do, they don't know who you do it for, and they don't know how you benefit, how they going to tell you how to grow your business?
Wow, that's true.
I mean, hey, some of y'all go to the doctors and they just give you pills and don't ask what's wrong with you, and y'all swallow them. But I'm not that kind of guy. So I need to know that you know my business enough to tell me how to grow my business. And they need to learn your business before they can start telling you what you need to do to grow it.
No, it is what it is. You got to make sure that when you are out here getting advice for your business and this type of stuff, and you sit up here, everybody, always got something to say, but you need to make sure that these people are qualified to tell you what they're telling you. Because if you don't do what I do, if you're not in radio, you can't tell me how to build my career in radio.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? If you're not in marketing, you can't tell me how to be a better marketing professional.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And a lot of times you listening to your friends that either work at some corporation or maybe, whatever they might do, but they're not in your industry. You know what I'm saying? No, we're not saying that you're not smart, But what I'm saying is you don't have the qualified experience to tell me how to do anything.
Yeah, or you're listening to somebody who's giving a blanket statement to everybody. They're not even talking to you. They're talking to everybody. And you're saying, well, they said that this is what I need to do. Well, did they talk to you about your business? Facebook ads work, but not
Oh
for
yeah,
everybody.
that's true.
Blogging works, but not for
For
everybody.
everybody.
See what I'm saying? And you're like, well, they said da da da. Well, did they talk to you about your business though? And you're like, no, they don't even know me. Well, how you know that it works for you?
There you
I've
go.
turned down business. And I
Quickly.
sometimes, I look back and be like, I could have made that money, but I've turned down business. Like that just isn't going to work for what you're trying to do at this stage of your business.
Oh yeah. I learned a long time ago. A lot of times when you take on business that you already know this person either don't have what it take or you know this is not gonna work. A lot of times what you end up doing, you think that you're making a little money here, but number one, you create misery in your life, and then number two, you become that person's excuse for failure.
Yeah.
It was like, man, I could have just made it if I hadn't messed with Jeff now.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So a lot of times,
that's why I say shoot the messenger, vet them. When I mean shoot, vet them, ask them questions, grill them to see if they know what they're talking about to tell you what you need to do. So don't just take it at face value and say, hey, this person, because a lot of them will say, well, I've helped all these other companies. But to be honest, if those companies aren't relevant to what you're doing, it doesn't matter. I've worked with companies that are big name, well-known household name companies. But if you're a small business, the strategies I'm going to give them will not work for your business because the resources they have to implement are a lot more than what you have. And it's a different animal, total different animal.
Wow. You seem serious today.
I'm serious today, bro.
You seem like you came to
I came to work.
You came to work today. It's like you
work.
fired up a little bit today.
Yeah. First of all, I don't have to work with all these cameras all the time and do all this prepping.
Nah, man, I love the energy. You seem like such a professional today. Most of the time you come in here all grumpy
because you got me doing everything, man. I mean,
you got you doing everything.
Last time I was cleaning the toilets, I had to clean the toilets, then come up in here and work and
you have to
vacuum.
work your way up the ladder, Joe.
I'm just saying.
You got to start from the bottom, work your way up.
I need just rich inheritance.
They say household corporations do not have a plan for peace in their pursuit of happiness. Dr. Genoa Graham said that.
Did she?
Joining us to the program today to explain what she's talking about. She is a doctor of business.
Yeah, finance.
She works in the corporate world, deals with millions and millions of dollars.
What compliance is? You don't even know what compliance is, do you?
I know what it is. I don't practice compliance, but I do know it.
I personally don't comply. Man, how about that?
I was told that I was instructed not to comply. But joining us to the program, and we're so happy to have her today, Miss Genoa Graham.
She's laughing.
How we doing today, Miss Doctor?
But Dr. Graham, tell him never call you Miss Genoa Graham again. It's Doctor.
I was trying to put the feminine out there for. I said Miss Doctor.
It's Doctor.
That's respect in Alabama. What you talking about?
Doing good.
We're doing good. How about you? Thank you so much for joining the program.
Huh?
I said thank you so much for joining the program today.
Oh, thank you for having me. You guys are hilarious. It's always a good time.
Now, explain to us. You said that corporations don't have a plan for peace. Explain that in the pursuit of happiness. Do you mean that from a employee perspective or from an ownership perspective? What do you mean by that statement?
So a household corporation is everybody individually in their home should be running their home like a corporation. Okay. So mothers, fathers, sisters, brothers, everybody should be involved in creating generational wealth for the family. And so the first step is the leadership. So the leaders of the home have to set the pace and the goals and then get the whole family involved in that process. So when you have unity, you have peace. And people are going wrong because the decision makers are making the decisions and they're not properly engaging the other people in the home with that process and what the plan is. So when you're saying, no, we can't do that right now because we got to do this, and this, or no, just because I said so, that can cause friction. So once you explain what's going on and why you're doing what you're doing, why you're saving what you're saving, and you're getting everybody in the process, it makes for a better process.
Now, if my little one wants vacation time, can I tell her we don't do vacation times in this organization?
Yes, you can.
Yeah, there's no vacations over here.
Get that baby on vacation.
That, though.
Let that baby go to Disney World.
Disneyland this year because I'm
Nisa,
trying
you
to
out
send
there
you to
listening, baby?
college.
We taking you to Disney World this summer.
She's actually going to
It's
Disney.
the 50th year anniversary. We going.
She's actually going the 1st of June. We are going to Disney World, but I'm just this vacation time. I don't know, man.
Now,
get them involved in the plan. Maybe you can't do Disney every year. So you do Disney one year, but then you do like a staycation or a smaller vacation and get them in the process. Have them look for things to do. Say, I want to go to this area and look at this beach and spend this amount. Google the area and see what fun things are to do in the area and get them involved in the process. And then they become more excited because they become engaged and become empowered.
Dr. Graham, I want to ask you a question. So for all the men in the house, I want to ask you a question, how we're going to run this as a corporation. So when the ladies are out there shopping, can we have you come in as a consultant, sit on the board, we bring them in and we're like, look, we need to talk about these finances and your spending. And you know how corporation, they bring you in, you sit at the table and they got like 4 people sitting there and they be like, yeah, we need to talk to you about your spending.
It sounds like you
get cussed out. Absolutely. I give lots of tips on how to prioritize your spending, what to do your spending on, how to stick to a budget, and how to actually create a budget, because you shouldn't walk out the door to spend money without having a plan.
That's a clippable. We're gonna clip that.
Like seriously. Now, dealing with corporations and dealing with so many people in this area, what are some of the main problems and the main headaches that you hear about most of the time?
So the main headaches in the larger corporations and the multinational corporations is when they're implementing new financial systems in particular. Some of the smaller divisions and the smaller departments kind of get left behind in the shuffle.
Okay.
So they're focused on, it's almost like an 80-20 rule. They focus on 80% of the business and then work on the other piece later, which that could be very, very costly. Mm-hmm. You don't want to do that. And then the other piece of it is that they don't completely implement the system. So you buy a new system so that it replaces the older system, mm-hmm. but they end up keeping both systems and supporting both systems. So that doesn't work either.
I've seen that a lot. You know, they don't want to throw out the old one because just in case, and now you're paying for both of them.
Now
exactly.
Now, this is most corporations, you said the 80-20 rule. Explain that a little bit, because I think a lot of folks in business don't really understand that 80-20 rule, or at least they don't really think about things in that nature enough. So explain that to people real quick for me.
Okay, so the 80-20 rule is a percentage split. So if you look at your business and all the different products and services the company provides, mm-hmm. so 80% of it is what the bulk of where the money is coming from. So these are your main customers fall in that 80%. The 20% are the ones that are occasional or have much less business, but they're still a part of your portfolio. Mm-hmm. So a lot of people focus on the money makers, which falls in the 80%, and they kind of leave the other pieces behind, which you really should be looking at your business holistically, the whole 100%, as you're making organizational changes, or you're going to set yourself up for failure down the line.
Wow.
Yeah, man. You're gonna set it up for failure, Kevin, if you keep on neglecting that 20.
The 20.
The 20 twin.
The 20 twin. But so when you start working with some clients, what are some of the things that you kind of help clients with?
So I help them with their strategies, making sure that one, they have a strategy that fits the vision of where they want to see the company in the future, mm-hmm. and then I make sure that they have tasks and assignments and the kind of tactical plans that's laid out. So making sure all of that is aligned, and then I take it a step further, and I also look at those tactical activities to make sure that they're streamlined and they're efficient, and I get rid of all of the junk and the clutter. So if there's automation that needs to happen, let's see about automation. If there's extra tasks and assignments that, even duplication of employees, we take a look at all that and get rid of all of that extra cost and all of those extra layered processes so that things run smoother and more cost effective.
Let's talk about this, especially when you're dealing with corporations, because I know that's what you deal with a lot. How do you work with the different buckets of budget? Because each department will have its bucket of budget, right? And they all fighting for their budgets and their initiatives. How do you work with navigating through, hey, this is what we have for this? And, a lot of times they like to cross budgets. Like they'll want something and you need to call this person over here and get it out of their bucket because we're not going to spend on it. How do you work with corporations like that? Because it's different with an entrepreneur or small business where it's all out of one bucket. But when you're dealing with multiple buckets, they fight like brother and sister.
They do. And in those cases, I work directly with the decision makers who are in charge of those budgets. And I get them together for a stakeholders meeting. And then it's all about negotiation and compromise. So you talk about the main things according to the organizational vision, and then you prioritize what needs to happen based on those parameters. And then you just start negotiating and talking it out. Okay, what's more important? Who's this going to impact? How long is it going to take? How much is it going to cost? And then you just start shifting the money as it needs to go. And if you have to borrow from another department, then do that.
So you just basically tell them you need to give up all this money because you're not using it efficiently anyway. And you over here, we're going to spend on you this week. Damn. We need to talk about shifting our budget.
Yeah, I need to stop paying you and put the money in my pocket. But so a lot of us out here, we got big dreams and we got big aspirations. And a lot of people, they look at the giants like Home Depot and McDonald's, and a lot of these large corporations that's been around for almost 100 years. How do you start to build a corporation like that, or how do you start to become something like that?
One customer at a time. So the key is delegation. So if you're trying to build a company that crosses multiple states, multiple divisions, you really have to put yourself around wise counsel. And you also have to put yourself around good people who have the heart of the goal that you're trying to meet and get them to work with you. And then those people eventually either become your board, your cohort, or your employees. And then that's how you grow. And then once you get to a certain point, you have a team dedicated, your sales team, your product development team, whatever that case is, you start organically growing it, focusing on getting money and business into the business, but then also getting the support team foundationally there to have the processes to sustain it. Because there's no sense in getting $1 million contract and you can't fill it. That makes no sense.
That's true.
That's true. Yeah.
Now, what are some other pitfalls that you need to be looking at? Because a lot of times with these corporations, you're talking about huge budgets, you're talking about lots of employees and this type of stuff. How do you get this process kind of like rolling? I see that I'm a small business. I see that we got a steady customer base. It looks like we can take this 100 and grow this if we push nationally to maybe 1,000 or 10,000 customers and this type of stuff. What are some of those things we need to be thinking about?
First of all, before you answer that, I want you to break down the difference between a big organization, large organization, and small business. Large organizations have use or lose budget. Small organizations got lose or lose budget. I'm just saying, I wanted to break that down because a lot of times we think that we're operating like these large companies. I understand it's a difference. They've got use or lose, but it's a different way of moving. So I will let an expert say it versus myself, which everybody think I'm a hater when I say it, but I'll let an expert tell you. Go ahead, expert.
So the difference between a larger organization and a smaller organization is literally the number of families that you're feeding. So if you have an employee base in the thousands, you're considered a large corporation. If you've got maybe 100 employees, that might be a mid-size. But if it's just you and your spouse and maybe a cousin or two, your small business.
Say if you the CEO, if you the tax person, if you the marketing person, if you the chicken cooker.
Yeah. And they've got money that's
you might not be a corporation yet.
They've got money that's invested in them and these large organizations, and they've got to use it by the end of the quarter.
And see, a lot of times that's the part I think people don't understand. A lot of these corporations, they ain't got to make profits like that.
Yeah.
And they can have 3 or 4 bad years because most of their money at this point being made in the stock market. And as long as they're doing good to their shareholders and you know, being right by them, then they good to go.
Yeah. So
but you every dollar come in, you got to make that convert to something else.
And it's one of those things, if you up here looking like I need to be like this larger organization, you know, like Amazon or like Home Depot or so forth, and you're spending, well, they're spending all this money on ad spend. Well, they have to spend it. It's use or lose money. You spend it, it's your rent money.
I know, right?
And that goes back to counting up the cost. So the Word of God talks about counting up the cost. So you have to count up how many employees you have, how much you have to pay them, how much the benefits. So you have to have income coming in to support your support system, as well as reaching out there to gain market share. So you have to balance that. And the larger you are, the more resources that you have. And then it's a little easier to get more shareholders, to get more investors because you have that reputation. Us smaller guys, we're counting on family members, close friends to fund us when we need help. And if you don't have that, then you're looking at banks. And then that's a whole nother topic on how to deal with that when you're trying to get money out of other people and institutions.
Exactly. We're going to come back after the break and talk about how to handle people when you put up a GoFundMe and nobody gives you no funds for your GoFundMe. We're going to talk about that after the break.
You listen to the #1 rated business show right here on the Real 1100 AM iHeartRadio. Shout out to Kayla Key, Dash, John, Raymond joining us right there on social media. Thank y'all so much for joining the program right here on the #1 rated business show. We'll be back after this.
Put some money on my GoFundMe, kid.
At Align for Life, we work with attorneys across the entire metro area. We are a portal of entry provider, meaning we can ensure your client is triaged accordingly and coordinate all aspects of your client's chiropractic and medical care from start to finish, including referrals to medical doctors, specialists, and imaging. This is Dr. Fowler. Your injury clients deserve the best: transportation, extended hours, and compliance monitoring. We understand your needs. Refer your injury and accident victims right now by calling us at 404-383-1110 or visit us at yourfinespine.com.
Transportation is provided via Uber, and we are open late so your clients can come in after work.
Auto accidents, wellness care, slip and fall. We take care of it all.
How do you define strength? Is it physical? Or is it mental? Maybe it's both. Maybe it's whatever empowers a person to dig deeper, fight harder, and overcome obstacles that once seemed insurmountable. Discover how much stronger and more confident your children can be. Encourage them to participate in a sport when they go to high school.
This message presented by the Georgia High School Association and the Georgia Athletic Directors Association.
Hey folks, just a quick reminder that no matter the time of the day and no matter what day of the week, East Coast, West Coast, all points in between, we are always on. So go to your app store and download the Real 1100 app and listen wherever and whenever.
The Real.
What's up, y'all? We are the Wicker Twins. You're listening to the #1 rated business show on the Real 1100 AM.
The whole time showing out.
And we are back right here on the #1 rated business show. Real 1100 AM iHeartRadio, checking in all over the world. It's the Rockstar KC
and Mr. Marketology. And why you dance all the time? Every time
you gotta have some energy, Jeff.
Bounce.
You gotta have some energy, man. Try it one time, Jeff. Move one good time.
I am a grown.
Give me some music. Let Jeff move. Get Jeff a little movement music. There you go. Get it in, bro. How that make you feel? How that make you feel?
Hey, I'm a grown ass man.
That make you feel good on the Tuesday, though.
Man.
Dr. Graham, it's so good to have you back. Thank you so much for hanging in there with us. You got to turn up sometime, okay?
You gonna
we
mess
talked
around.
about that yesterday.
You gonna mess around.
It is important.
You gonna slip a disc.
I'm just saying it is
Yeah,
important.
throw
We
your
talked
hip out.
about that with author Ethan King. He said entertainment was a part of the simple acronym.
Yep, it was.
The turn up is
You
important.
slip a disc though, throw a hip
Dr.
out.
Graham, what do you do to turn up? Let's see. What do you do to turn up, Dr. Graham?
I'm a church girl. I'm a born again believer, so I'm in church anytime I'm hanging with my church people. I'm good. Heaven's Harvest Ministry, shout out.
We can turn up with the Lord if we need to. Some churches be turned. Don't get me wrong, bro.
I leave that to y'all.
They do. You remember the first time you was in church and you saw somebody catch the Holy Ghost and run down the aisle?
I thought they were having seeds, bro.
You was like, oh, hold up. And they ran down the aisle and you were like, and your mom be like, you better not show out. You better just sit there and look.
That is that old school Baptist church. Like, that's good Southern Baptist.
Yeah,
that's good, man. Them big hats.
Yeah, man.
But back to the good doctor turning up in church. And in corporations. So when we left over the break, we were talking about these budgets and this type of stuff, and understanding where you kind of fall as far as a business. Small businesses kind of drop off right here, you know what I'm saying, at this point, mid-size, and then corporations and this type of thing. So looking at the corporate landscape of the world and this type of stuff, another big thing that always comes up, and another big thing that people get so pissed about is that you have these companies like Amazon. You had these companies like Home Depot, Apple, $1 trillion companies. I mean, no, $2 trillion company, but barely pay any taxes. Walk us through that a little bit, or kind of explain it to folks a little bit.
Hit
because
me in the side right there.
I know, because I got to write a big check my damn self. I'm like, Joe, don't call me with that, bruh. But now explain that to folks a little bit, because I'm a little tired of hearing it, and the argument gets so old. You know what I'm saying? Well, they don't pay taxes. They don't pay taxes. Explain that to people.
So you have to understand the tax law. And if you don't understand it, you need to get a tax lawyer or a CPA or a person that, specializes in taxes, like myself. So at the end of the day, what you make, you take what you make minus all your expenses, and that becomes part of your net income. Well, if you almost spend just as much as you make, then that makes that number smaller. There's also tax shelters and tax benefits that, depending on the type of business that you're in, you may qualify for. But you won't know those unless you talk to a tax expert in your field.
And don't talk to your barber. Your barber don't know taxes.
I know that's right. Like the man's supposed to be able to give you marriage advice, parenting advice, business advice. But no, it's one of those type of things, because it's so funny, the differences in business. You know what I'm saying? Because of the simple fact, a lot of times with corporations, just to get the tax break, we might lose money this year. You know what I'm saying? Maybe we don't want to put out all these products. Maybe we don't want to make another $1 billion this year. It's more beneficial to us save money, not have to pay the taxes on it. You know what I'm saying? And ride that over into our next quarter or into our next year. You know what I'm saying?
True.
So it's so funny in being around tax time. I just think that's because so many folks, they get upset and they want to pitch a fit and complain, but they don't realize you can do the same thing. You can go right down there to the Secretary of State, sign up as an S corporation. You get them same benefits as Home Depot or anybody else.
Yeah.
Now you got to do the paperwork like Home Depot do it.
But they got people that do it.
That goes back to that compliance.
Yep.
I'm trying to tell you, because that paperwork ain't no joke. It ain't like an LLC. You ain't got to do nothing for that. You just got to pay. But when it comes to corporation, you got to have minutes and notes and meetings and all that other stuff.
Let's talk about that dirty word, doctor. Compliance. Oh, that's such a dirty word.
I know, right? Comply.
Tell us about compliance and how that works.
So compliance usually goes along with reporting. So you have to be reporting how you're doing and what you're doing and reporting it truthfully. And depending on the business that you're in, there is compliance laws, whether it be tax laws or regulatory laws, where they are standardizing how people do business and report what they're doing. And so there's forms you have to fill out. There's papers that you have to turn in. There's different things depending on the compliance metrics. And you just do that to the best of your ability. And as long as you turn it in on time, just like we all know, April 15th is the tax deadline. You missed that tax deadline.
I thought it was June 15th.
Yes.
I thought it was June 15th again this year. We ain't gonna get that little extra time.
You're under new management.
Don't wait till the last minute. There's something that you should be working on throughout the year. You should have a team dedicated to it, or at least one person who is looking up the new laws, because new laws come out every year, several times a year. You need to have somebody who is researching that and making sure that you're up to date, because you can't say that you didn't know when the law is made available.
You know that don't work. Ignorance of the law does not get you out of it, bro. I got pulled over in Alabama. I was doing like 80 something in a 55, but I had no idea I was in a 55 because it looked like it would have been a 70.
You were doing 80 something is speeding in any daggone. There's
but
it looked
like it was a 70 though.
There's no place that 80 is the speed limit.
Trust me, do not go through Troy, Alabama doing no 80 something miles per hour, because trust me, the speed limit is 55 and they serious.
Well, I got a ticket for having the phone up to my daggone face.
They told you that in Georgia, don't hold it. Do not hold it.
And I played ignorant.
Down here.
I played very ignorant. Is this a phone? I didn't even know it was a phone. I thought it was my hearing piece. They were like, yeah, bro, we're going to hear you with these $50.
I always use, I'm lost, man. I'm trying to use my mouth. Oh, my goodness. So, Dr. Graham, what other nuggets you got for us today?
She talk about risk mitigation, too.
Risk mitigation?
You don't even know what that is, do you?
No, I know what risk mitigation is. That is a big one. But no, but see, when you start talking about on large scale, because a lot of times, stuff like that don't really come up in the small business world, risk mitigation, because you don't think on that level. But when you're controlling big billion-dollar budgets, you know what I'm saying? Saving pennies here, you know what I'm saying? Going a little bit thinner on the paper on the cup. It save a lot of money. It make a lot of money. Hey, we don't need to put this out no more.
They don't even give you napkins anymore. If you don't ask for it, they be like,
Starbucks. Bro, Starbucks got so damn thin on them cups. I picked it up one day and just crushed the whole thing in my hand. I was like, bro. Oh, boy. But that's the type of stuff that it makes millions of dollars for these corporations, because when you are serving, just think about a company like Starbucks, literally all over the entire world. So I'm serving at least, a million cups an hour. So just think about if I'm saving 2-3 pennies off each one of them cups. I'm just saying that's a lot of profits.
Yeah.
Even with Amazon delivering this type of stuff, them cardboard boxes ain't as thick as they used to be. Is
Carry on, doctor. Tell us about risk mitigation. Why
you gonna try to act like I don't know about no risk mitigation?
Look,
bro, I've been in corporate.
He's up here venting.
I was in corporate, okay?
Just because
I was so happy to get out of corporate.
Just because you was answering the phone on a call center does not make you corporate.
If it was in a corporate building, it counts. Now, Dr. Graham.
So risk mitigation is just like it sounds. You're counting up the cost to avoid something. So whether you have to take the loss or you can avoid it altogether, there's plans that you can put in place to help lessen the cost and lessen the impact. And it's very important with large corporations. Cars now are going towards electric. So now we know that global warming and other things are destroying our world. And so we are now actively, collectively, as a world, trying to do small things to lessen the damage. And so that analysis is called risk mitigation. Again, saving money on cups. Somebody had to run those numbers, see all the sales associated with those cups, how many cups are going out the door, what's the material made out of, can we get a cheaper material that gives us the same quality and the same durability? With cups, is it biodegradable? All these other things that go. So somebody has to do that analysis. And if you can save money and please the environment and make the customer happy, that's a win-win-win.
Now, when you're putting together their plan or you're assessing, do you assess for like 3 years out, 5 years out, 10 years out? Or is it like, this is where you are right now and this is what we're looking like for the next year?
It really depends on the client and what they need, but I'm all about telling the truth. So I will give you what the picture is today and then have a real conversation about your expectations for tomorrow. And if your expectations for tomorrow are unreasonable, I'm not about to sugarcoat it. I'm about to tell you your expectations are unreasonable, and here's where you need to fall in line for reasonability. And
but Tony Robbins said I don't have to be reasonable. Tony Robbins said I don't have to be reasonable. He said I should be unreasonable.
Kevin still be trying to make us use the same mic, and I'm like, I'm not using the same mic, bro. We gonna use different mics because
we can save money that way. No.
Now,
now
counsel.
I'm gonna put you to the test. Let's say we own a t-shirt company.
You knew it was coming.
And we wanted to take this t-shirt company and make it a large corporation and serve a national audience, starting from nothing. What's the plan?
The plan is to take one division of your t-shirt company, find the best products that you can afford, find the customers that will buy your product, and get a process that is efficient and cost-effective down for this one division, this one location. Say you start in Atlanta.
Okay.
Once you get that working great and you are consistently showing a profit, then you talk to partnerships or other people or start taking the steps to expand to either another city or another state or even another country if that's what you choose. But you have to get what you're currently working almost to perfection before you expand. Because if you're not making money on what you're doing now, all you're going to do is just lose money as you try to expand.
That's some good advice.
Well, let's talk about the global scale, because now we're on a global market. I mean, and you got to expand locally, nationally, and now globally. How does that differ now? We're on a different playing field.
Well, the benefit now is because we have Zoom and other more virtual tools that we did before. Because before, 30, 40 years ago, longer than that, you actually had to get on a plane and go talk to somebody and make a friend over there. And so that's a whole culture shock, a whole new learning experience. Well, now you can, do research and make virtual relationships before you have to get over there. But those relationships are very important. Just like, say, with McDonald's, if you've ever gone to another country like Europe or Paris, the McDonald's menu and even the ingredients are different than in the U.S. The U.S., we have a lot more non-food ingredients that other countries don't allow. So you just have to understand what that is and what those costs are associated, because you may not be able to use the cheapest materials in those other countries. You might have to use natural materials or even more expensive materials. So you have to count up the cost to make sure that it's worth it. Otherwise, you're setting yourself up for failure.
That's such a good point that you make, because it's funny. I think it's a story of Disney CEO Bob Iger. You know what I'm saying? Because as he was coming up and all this type of stuff, and he perfected, I think it was Disney theme parks and this type of thing.
Yeah, it's different.
And then he was on this streak to where he just couldn't lose. And then he went over to England trying to build one over there in Paris, and they hated it because he did not understand their culture. And he didn't understand that, hey, these Europeans don't want what Americans want. You know what I'm saying? You need to cater to Europeans. So that is so true when you start talking about international business.
Yeah. Robert?
Kiyosaki? Not personally, but he ain't called me back yet.
Oh, man.
But no, what are some things that we should think about before we start to look at doing business on a global scale? Because I gotta be honest with you, I'm a big proponent of, you don't have to sit up here and fight all this competition right here in Atlanta. You can go anywhere and do business at this point. And so much stuff now has become digital, and our reach and our connection and all this type of stuff. You can literally do business anywhere in the world. And it's a lot of other countries that I'm looking at. It's a lot of opportunity over there. But it's like, what's the process? What's to get started? What's the jump in point?
So the jump in point is relationships.
Okay.
So you need to do your research on the culture. You need to make a relationship over there, either with a company that's already doing what you're wanting to do and just form a partnership or a joint venture. You could also talk to government agencies. There are government agencies like NGOs who specialize in helping different countries come together to share their businesses and share their practices, so they can help you. So there's a lot of legwork. You can't just do business in another country.
Yeah, you can't just really go out there and put it on the web.
I just can't jump off the plane and just hand a bird, I'm here.
Nah, you might mess around.
Give me some money.
Mess around and won't get back because your customs aren't straight.
Have y'all seen what's going on over there, man?
That's crazy.
Yeah. So another thing to consider when you're doing work overseas, especially if you have a replicable product like a manufacturing, you really have to be careful and protect yourself and make sure that your product, especially if you have like a widget or something that you're making, is actually patented and patented at the international level.
Oh,
I've heard a lot of horror stories about people wanting something to be made in China or in another country because it was cheaper. Well, they send their plans over there to be made,
and
they never hear from that person again.
wow.
And then the next thing you know, that other country has that product and they're making it on their own without the owner's approval. So you really have to do your due diligence and get everything protected and lined up and be compliant, or you'll get taken advantage of.
And there's no suing in global court.
I know, and that's such a real thing because that's one of the biggest things with the Apple iPhone. You know what I'm saying? Because a lot of it was or is manufactured over in China, and they were stealing a lot of the internal designs and this type of stuff, putting them in those Chinese phones and stuff like that. And that's something that has happened over and over to a lot of Americans that have invented products and this type of thing. And then next thing you know, they send it over there to have it mass produced, and then it's out in the Chinese market. But what do you do in that situation? Because even with
following, yes,
but even with an international patent, it's not even logical. Well, I ain't gonna say it's not logical, but it's not easy to sue somebody in the world court, though, right?
It's not. But if you have your international patents and you have all of your compliance boxes checked, it's easier to be protected. And then those corporations and those NGOs that I was talking about, those organizations that are set up to help different countries work together, they will step in on your behalf. If you've done everything that you're supposed to do and you're still getting taken advantage of, there's help for you. You just have to find it.
I know some help. I got a cousin, Guido and Pookie. And cousin Guido and Pookie, we can ride over there and handle the business. I'm just saying, bro.
But no, it's the main thing I'm hearing is this, though. But the main thing I'm hearing is this: is do your paperwork. Make sure that you got your paperwork in order. And a lot of times, that's what we as business owners, and I think every business owner in the world, we've all been guilty of it. Falling behind on paperwork. I've seen so many entrepreneurs. You go in their office, man, I got to get all these forms filled out by tomorrow. I got to do all this for my taxes and this type of stuff. Staying on top of that, man. There's grants out there, there's loans out there, there's so much stuff, advantages to having that paperwork in line.
It is.
And I'm not the best in the world at doing it myself.
Me neither. I'm not gonna say. I'm not gonna say.
Get an assistant.
I know.
Get an executive liaison.
Yes. I need a Dr. Graham in my life.
So, Dr. Graham, tell us a little bit. Are you married and got kids, or
first of all, we're not even gonna get on that. Let's talk.
We trying to talk, bro. We trying to get to know Dr. Graham. So you married? You got kids, or?
I have an adult son.
Wow. Okay.
You read all about him in my book, Cyanidation: The Refinement of My Life. It's a memoir that I wrote about the first 30 so years of my life, from my earliest memories.
You embarrassed your son in that book. You embarrassed your son in that book.
Yeah.
I remember when you used to do this.
I know, right?
Oh my goodness.
Because we all do stupid stuff as kids. All of us done something. Some of us done it twice. So
we want to talk about one last time finances. When you're talking about finances, we so busy thinking about how much money we're gonna make, and you're bringing how much money do we need to look at budgeting, while we have some money. When do you come into play? Do you come into play before you start making the money, after you start making the money, after you mess around and lost all the money? When do you come into the game?
Wow, you losing the money.
Ideally, you should have a financial expert or somebody that you could talk to at the beginning of the process. Because again, you can get $1 million, but you could also spend it in a day if you don't have those people around you. So you don't want that. But anytime in the process when you feel like you're in trouble, or you feel like you just need financial guidance, you should have a person that you should be able to talk to that's actually certified and has shown themselves through in the area.
Yeah, that's true.
I love when she say somebody is actually certified. Now that is one last question I do want to ask before we get out here, because a lot of us or a lot of people out there are just, starting to get into that season where they starting to profit, they starting to see, a bigger future in this type of stuff. How do you look at or how do you pick a financial planner? And the reason why I asked you that, a lot of times, them having that specific knowledge about your industry, what I'm saying, can help them better help you make financial decisions and this type of stuff. Because if you don't know the cycles in my business, you don't know how it run and this type of stuff, a lot of times, even though it might be good financial advice, it might not be good for me. So how do we find somebody to help us with our finances?
So there's two types of finance people to help you make the money, and then finance people to help you keep the money.
Okay.
So you have to decide what help you're trying to do.
Mm-hmm.
Me, myself, I show you how to keep it. Because you should be saving, you should be generating generational wealth. Everybody's not a risk taker. Everybody's not trying to be in the stock market. Everybody's not trying to do investments, and that's okay. There's other ways to make money and save money. But it's all about relationships. Your finance person should be focused on your goals and what you're trying to do, and not pad their commission and not pad their pocket.
Wow. Hey, I like this idea here for all y'all that have spouses and people in your pockets. You need a Dr. Graham on your team and be like, you want me to spend what? Call Dr. Graham, see if it's in our budget.
You're gonna get somebody divorced, Joe.
I'm already. I'm telling you, man. We need this in our life, bro.
No, seriously, you definitely got to be serious. People don't realize everybody gonna make over $1 million in their life. It's what you do with it, how much of it you keep. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. That's what really matters. And when you deal with people that understand money, they can show you how to grow any amount. You know what I'm saying? People think it takes, I got to get that $1 million check to become a millionaire. No, the hell you don't. You really don't. You just got to be able to save and invest so much of your money, be consistent with it, and be diligent about it. And then before you know it, I mean, hell, even if you're working at McDonald's, within about 5-10 years, you can have millions of dollars.
That's
like
true.
Seriously.
Talk to us about the doc. The I gotta feel good money. People always like, I gotta go out and spend this money because I just need to feel good.
Oh yeah, you're gonna feel bad as hell when you're broke though.
There's nothing to spending what you earn because you deserve it. You just have to be realistic. Are you able to just go out to a movie or treat yourself to a nice dinner, or do you have to go buy a $900 purse, or do you have to go out of the country?
Let's
in your budget.
Let's cover that real quick for a second when we come back. Let me hold you over the break one more time. It's the #1 rated business show right here on the Real 1100 AM iHeartRadio, taking in all over the world. It's the Rockstar KC
and Mr. Marketology,
and we'll be right back after this.
Hi, this is Dr. Williams with the Line for Life Wellness. I want to invite you to our new office at 1800 Jonesboro Road in Atlanta. Come in for a consultation, examination, therapy, and x-ray, all for just $100.
What?
Yes, $100. This offer expires soon, so call us to schedule at 404-383-1110 or find us on the web at www.yourfinespine.com.
If you want to be fine, take care of your spine.
We're open late.
And now an important message from Steve Harvey.
This pandemic isn't over yet. We got the vaccines. I got mine. You might have yours. But listen to this. Don't think just because you got the vaccine that you can just go crazy. Follow the current safety guidelines. I know the mask is hot, but you know what's hotter than these masks? Staying healthy. That's pretty fly if you ask me. Let's unite to prevent.
For more information, visit unitetoprevent.org.
Attention, radio station listener. This might make you say, oh my God. Get this station and 1,500 live stations plus a custom station you can create all in one right now. Download the free app now at iHeartRadio.com. Oh my God.
I am Danny Parks, and you're listening to the #1 business show with Casey Pride.
And we are back right here on the Real 1100 AM iHeartRadio, taking in all over the world. It's the Rockstar KC
and Mr. Marketology.
And we are back with Dr. Graham. We only got a few more minutes left in the show. Before we got out of here, and I think this is a very, very important point to hit. Talking about the reward. because a lot of times as entrepreneurs, we work so hard. And a lot of times when you just continue to work, though the numbers start to build up, you feel like, what am I doing all this for? You know what I'm saying? So tell us a little bit about how to reward ourselves as entrepreneurs, coming from a finance expert such as yourself.
Well, first you set the budget on what you want to spend, and then you determine within that budget how you want to spend it. There's various things that you could do. You could spend $100 in a weekend staying at a bed and breakfast out in the middle of nowhere and enjoy the country air and be just as refreshed as if you did something else that cost you, 3 times as much.
Okay. No, I'm with you on that.
I need something to make me feel good.
Now, is there a certain because I know we talked about, before the break, we was talking about, $900 purses and stuff, and some of them purses about 5, 6.
I know a guy downtown, Old National.
Get you any purse you want, $50. But no, is there a certain ratio or something that we should look at when it comes to, I make 100,000, but let me go buy the Lambo? You know what I'm saying? So is there a certain ratio that we need to kind of work off of? Okay, if I make this much, I can go spend this much for my reward.
It's really up to the person because you know your spending habits and you know what you want.
I like to borrow. I gotta be.
So when the money comes in, then you section it off. So the money comes in, this much goes to tithe and offering. If you go to church and you're born again believer, this amount's going to go to savings, this amount's going to go to bills, and then what's left over, okay, this is how much I have to play with. And then you just work accordingly. Some people just go out to a nice dinner. You spend $50 on a nice restaurant and go blink your eyes at somebody and wave a little bit, and you're good.
You're
get
right.
You a nice dinner,
but
get
nowadays,
you a nice sweet afterwards.
You mess around and go to the restaurant or go to movies, you're spending almost a ball.
Not if you're going with Jeff. Trust me, it's gonna be $20 for your plate. Then don't even ask for dessert. Don't ask for dessert.
Man.
Then you can't get but one alcoholic drink.
I'm doing that for your health.
If you don't get the alcoholic drink, then he'll let you get the dessert.
I'm doing that for your health. I'm a health conscious, Kevin.
So you go out with me, we gonna bow. Trust me. We're gonna have a good time. We're gonna be broke when we get finished.
Or another option is you find the meal that you want and then you buy the ingredients and learn how to make it yourself at home. And it'll even taste better.
That's what I do. See? That's an old pimp move right there. You don't know nothing about that.
I don't know nothing about that.
Dr. Graham, if anybody want to get in contact with you, if anybody wants to follow you to get some of your services, how can folks get in contact with you and reach out to you?
The best way is to look me up online. It's www.drgnp.com. You'll find a link to be able to email me. You'll also find my phone number. And there's also a link about all the events and everything that I'm involved in.
All right.
That's what's up, man.
That's what's up.
We got to get our budget right.
One more time. What's your social media one more time so everybody can follow you on social media and keep up with this wonderful life that you got going on?
www.drgnp.com.
All right.
And if you're on LinkedIn, you got to put the PhD behind her name.
So you got to put some respect on her name. If you're
well, if you look her up, you got to put the doctor in the front and the PhD in the back because it's just not going to come up.
Thank you so much, Dr. Grant, one more time for being a guest right here on the #1 rated business show.
Thank you for having me.
It has been another ride here on the
It's been a
#1
great Tuesday, man.
Yeah, it's been a Tuesday, but we got through it, bro. No, it was a good show today. Yeah. I think if you ain't learned something today, you weren't listening.
Yeah,
I got to be honest with you. It was a great show today. So, thank y'all to the #1 rated audience for staying tuned. Right here on the Real 1100 AM. We'll be back tomorrow at 10 a.m. We got a great show. I think it's Miss Danny Paws coming in tomorrow.
Oh, and she probably got some words for you because you've been talking reckless.
I don't talk reckless. I talk cash.
She got words for you tomorrow.
Nah, we're gonna have a good time. We're gonna talk about charity. We're gonna talk about mental health and all this type of stuff. So it's gonna be a great conversation with Miss Danny Parks right here live in the studio, right here on the Real 1100 AM iHeartRadio. Thank y'all so much. Once again, to the #1 rated audience, you can follow me on Instagram at I am KC Pride.
And follow me on Instagram at Mr.Marketology. But you probably want to follow me on LinkedIn, Jeff Bill, and everywhere else, Mr. Marketology.
We're gonna get all that together for you. And we'll be back tomorrow. We are
Instagram be hating on me, bro.
Wednesday